Mushroom Oasis. Let's get it started. What's your name? My name is Aria. What's your cat's name? Well, I have two cats. I have Huckleberry and I have Peaches. So, I'll just do Huck. And your cat is male. Huck has been missing for a while now. No, Huck! He was an indoor cat, but had the intensity of a wildcat on a mission trying to leave whenever the door was open. Catios and playtime just wasn't enough for the little mister. I figured he'd come running if I left out some food by the porch. 3 days later, still no cat. I've tried everything I could think of, asking around the neighborhood, putting up missing cat posters. Sadly, nothing came from my efforts. I couldn't search for him during the day since I had work keeping me occupied, and there's only so many hours in an evening I could yell around the streets looking for him. There was only one place left I could think of that he might have ran off to. The woods by my house right across the street. I've definitely caught him eyeing the birds and squirrels that ran alongside the perimeters from the front window, his teeth clicking in excitement. I was no outdoorsy person by any means. In fact, the thought of going in there scares me. But I had to find him, or at least try. The first weekend that came around, I packed up some water, Huck's favorite treats, and a compass to be safe. I wasn't sure where to even begin looking for him, so I started walking in a straight line, calling out his name every few steps. It certainly didn't take long for me to realize I was way in over my head. Why did I think this was a good idea? It was hard to find my bearings within the surrounding trees. I didn't want to admit I was lost, and yet, or at least not yet. I could only squint down at my compass as the needle spun slowly. Pretty sure they weren't made to do that. Did I really bring a busted compass on my first adventure out in these woods? I figured that would just be my luck. The only thing risking my own safety was my own incompetence. I shook my head hastily. No, 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 no. No time for negativity. Huck was out there somewhere, cold and lost and hungry. I had to keep going. It's been hours. I'm so lost. I didn't even know why I kept searching even after the moment I'd realized that. Why did I think this was a good idea? Oh, excuse me. Hunger had been gnawing at my stomach for a while now, having missed breakfast and lunch altogether. The heat and humidity from the afternoon sun was unbearable, but the cooling air did nothing to soothe me. Even if I were to head home, I couldn't even point where that was. What do people even do in this situation? I knew it was baseless optimism, but walking onwards was really the only thing I could think of to do. Surely I'll come across something familiar. I trudged on, my shoes carefully avoiding the tree roots and intertwined across the forest floor. But in my weakened state, plus the approaching darkness, I found myself stumbling through the rough terrain. My feet hit something soft jutting out of the ground. Ah! My hands shoot out as I lost my balance. My feet clumsily tried to find perches as I wobbled backwards, arms flapping. Poof. What? My shoe landed smack dab in the circle of mushrooms, the brunt of it causing a wisp cloud to erupt from the cluster. Uh-oh. fairies are here. I stuck my nose and my elbow to avoid breathing it in. I couldn't differentiate one tree leaf from another for the life of me, but I'm pretty sure humans aren't supposed to inhale whatever the hell this was. It smelled strongly of rotten wood and wet dirt, even as it cleared. Something shiny quickly caught my attention. I stooped down to pick it up, gasping under my breath. It was Huck's collar, covered in whatever the hell those mushrooms released. I looked around desperately for any signs of him. Huck? Huck! Kitty, kitty! Oh. One of my cats just ran in here. I coughed from inhaling some of the remaining dust floating in the air. I should really steer clear from this. Pocketing Huck's collar, I retreated carefully until I could breathe again. Stepping back, I could still smell it, but it must have stuck to my hair and clothes. A quick once-over confirmed my suspicions in a slight cringe. A thin yet generous coating of it covered my sleeves and jeans. I leaned against a tree, dusting off my clothes in a naive attempt to get the dust and smell out to no avail. If anything, it felt like I'm breathing more of it in. What used to be musty now turned sweet, and I found myself inhaling even deeper, trying to pinpoint the smell. Cucumbers? It smelled like fresh cucumbers. A tingly feeling crept up my hands and neck, pinpricks spreading across my limbs as a strange heat reached my face. Well, that was a bad idea. I started to feel drunk and woozy. My senses were numb. It should freak me out, and yet a strange comfort washed over me. I should lie down, right now in fact. My legs gave out from under me, my body toppling over at an awkward angle. I laid there and stared and stared and stared. It was nice here. A peaceful calm. A perfect place for a nap even. My eyes grew heavy as I swam in and out of consciousness. Yeah, a nap sounds really good right about now. That was a bad idea. Oh? Lots of critters passing through lately. Sorry this happened to you, little one. It could have been anyone, but it had to be you. Wait, a human? How'd you end up all the way out here? Still breathing, too. Ah, geez, I can't leave you here. What should I do? I woke with a jolt. It was warm, but comfortably so. I could feel the weight of a blanket on me as I tried to sit up. I couldn't move my body. My fingers twitched uselessly at my sides as my eyes darted around in panic. Glancing about, I could see the interior of a cabin, or at least the ceiling of one. I couldn't see much past the corner of my eyes. Where was I? How did I get here? A desperate feeling rose in my chest. I had to leave. Right now. This was wrong. 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 I wasn't meant to be here. I could hear the cracking of a fire nearby, likely the source of warmth I had felt on waking up. I could also hear footsteps approaching. Pretend to be asleep. I shut my eyes quickly, hoping they hadn't noticed. I slowed down my breathing, willing my face muscles to stay still. From beside me, someone chuckled softly. I already know you're awake, Firefly. Come on now. I'm not gonna hurt you. I fluttered my eyelids, straining to look at the person approaching. My eyes widened as I took in their appearance. the protrusions from their forehead catching my attention. Not to mention the green skin. The stranger didn't sense my unease as they heaved a sigh of relief. "You're awake. That's good. Very, very good. How are you feeling?" I blinked. "Oh, so sorry. I forgot about that. Here." The person held a cup to my lips, a strong, sweet smell coming from the rim. A gentle hand grabbed my chin to open my mouth. I couldn't even move to resist. "Don't worry, it'll help you feel better, I promise. Drink up." As the liquid hit my tongue, all I could feel was a vague sense of heat. As I kept drinking, taste and texture returned, the sweetness of berries and chamomile coating my taste buds. I could even detect a hint of mint. I lifted my head finally, hands fisting at my sides as I propped myself onto my elbows. The person kept a steady hand on my chin, careful not to pour in too much in case I choked. I finished every last drop, wiping my mouth with the back of my hand. I stared at my fingers, realizing I had full autonomy over my body again. "Good as new. Now, how are you feeling?" Better, thank you." The stranger laughed. "Oh, I like the way you sound. Been ages since I've talked to anyone, much less with a voice that is as nice as yours." I blushed off their strange compliment, finally looking around the cabin properly. It was a simple room filled with sparse but decorative wooden furniture, fit for someone living alone. An open archway to the right led to what I assumed was the kitchen. Next to it, a door was closed shut. Possibly the bathroom? Taking it in, there was a common theme of knitted decorations strewn about, any available surface and pattern knitted tablecloths covering it. An unfinished project laid beside the bedside table where I sat, a pair of knitting needles just out of the pile of yarn from the smallest basket. As far as I could tell, it looked like the beginnings of a green scarf. The stranger was comfortable in staying silent, observing me as I glanced around. They tossed their hat on the bed, scruffing their hair and making it even messier. With their hat off, their unique features were impossible to ignore. "So sorry, but what are you?" "Oh, I didn't introduce myself, did I? Hiya, I'm Michael, with a Y." I shook my head. No, I meant that, Michael stared at me, their left ear twitching. "You look very," he snorted, "ugly, off-putting." "No, just different." "Different, huh? You're just being nice." "Well, then explain yourself." I mean, that's kind of rude, isn't it?" I paused for a moment before pinching my nose bridge, exhaling slowly. I'm just sorry. It's been a long day is all. I should be thanking you. If it helps, it's a skin condition." "Is that what you humans call them?" The way they said it didn't matter, didn't sound confident. "And the ears?" Genetics? Right. And I assume I went vaguely at their horns? Antenna? Those things are just cosplay to complete the look? Would that make a convincing argument? I squinted. Maybe. Then yeah, it's cosplay. Still doesn't explain everything. Michael huffed a nervous laugh. Listen, I'm just a guy living by himself in the woods. You don't need to worry yourself further than that, okay? Something in his tone compelled you not to question his existence anymore. He's just some guy, living in the woods. Completely normal. Right. Completely normal. I'm Arya. Michael beamed. Nice to meet you, Arya. I fiddled with the blanket as Michael scooted closer from the edge of the bed. I know I already asked, but how are you feeling? Any aches, sores, nausea, intrusive thoughts, weird impulses, a fever maybe? He placed his hand on my forehead before I could react. His hands were calloused, quickly retracing as he gave a thoughtful hum. You seem to be lucid. That's a good sign. Great? He hummed absently. His twitching ear reminded me of a perturbed cat. Cat. My cat! Oh, shoot! So sorry if this is out of nowhere, but have you seen a cat around these parts? His name's Huck. He's a sweet little thing about this big, skittish, but he can approach strangers if he needs to. Black and white tuxedo cat. I pulled out my phone to show pictures of him, only to find it missing from my back pocket. Wait, where is... I haven't. Huh? Your cat. I haven't seen it. Oh, I see. I slumped against the pillows, rubbing at my temples. He lost his collar, too. Even if anyone finds him, they wouldn't be able to tell where he's from. Dang it. Michael stayed quiet, watching me from his side of the bed. You came all the way out here for a cat? Huh? Of course. To the point where you're willing to run yourself ragged this deep in the forest for a cat. You realize how far you've wandered away from the nearest town? I found you near unconscious in an area nobody set foot in for years. For a cat. He sounded like he was holding himself back from giving me a stern lecture, as if in disbelief. I had such little regard to my own survival. My cheeks grew heated at how stupid, reckless that sounds. He's not just a cat, he's my family. I know. I know it was stupid for even trying, but I had to. Michael eased up, shoulders tense as he looked me over from underneath his unruly bangs. Family, huh? He finally tipped his head at me with a smile. You willing to wander this far for such a small critter? I've met my fair share of lost campers, hunters, and a few runaway teens or two. With someone looking for their pet? You're kinda weird, aren't ya? I sputter, much to his amusement. Speak for yourself. Who cosplays in the middle of the woods? Michael laughed, a deep, hearty one resonating from his chest. Fair. I think I'm starting to like you, Arya. Likewise? His smile widened, but something about it was off. He was showing too much teeth. It felt like he hadn't talked to someone in a real long time and forgot how to smile the right amount. I rubbed my neck, trying to think of something else to say. Can I ask, how did I get here? Oh, like I said, I found you in the woods not far from here. Oh, geez, really? I knew I was tired, but I couldn't have possibly. Huh. I did step in something important. Familiar pinpricks crept up my skin. Home. I need to go home. Michael stiffened as he grabbed my shoulder. Never mind that. You'd fallen unconscious from, heat stroke. Heat stroke? No, that wasn't what happened. I wasn't. I was fine up until... Michael shook his head insistently, leaning close. No, Firefly. You weren't fine at all. If I hadn't found you when I did, well, who knows what could have happened. You could have gotten injured or attacked by a wild animal. There's danger in these woods, you know? No, he was right. You had been so foolish. How did you think you could do this on your own? Searching for your cat in the middle of the woods. And to go in without bringing any water? Passing out from heat stroke of all things. How could you have been so stupid? I shook my head, brain too foggy to pick apart my thoughts. He sounded confident, so why should you doubt him? Oh, I don't like this. Well, if it means anything, I'm glad you were there. Michael relaxed, hand on his lap once more. He grinned at me. So am I, Arya. I'm definitely glad I found you. His eyes were hidden fully behind his unruly hair, but I couldn't help feeling how intensely they were fixated onto me as he said that. The hairs on the back of my neck stood. Sure. Without a distraction, I've only just realized how uncomfortable I was sitting still. The blanket on me was starting to itch, just as the desperate need to get home began to rise in me again. This was interesting, but I should really get going now. Wait. My host jumped up from the bed before I could. I mean, you can't. I can't just let you wander around the woods this late. Please, stay a bit longer. Come. He grabbed my hand and led me across the room. We stepped into the kitchen, a fragrant smell of cooked potatoes and meat hanging in the air. 2 plates had been set out for a small... on a small circular table, complete with utensils and mugs of tea. I wasn't expecting guests today, so the food is nothing fancy. But join me for dinner? He looked so hopeful, ears drooping. You'd feel so bad if you had to say no. Say no. I ignored the pleading voice in the back of my head, stealing my resolve. Strangely enough, the second I made up my mind, the faint static that fogged my thoughts cleared instantly, only replaced with the urgent need to go back home. Michael goes quiet, his grip on my hand tightening before he loosens his hold. I see. If that's what you want. But are you really sure? Ooh. His ears flattened at my words. He laughs an empty laugh without twisting. He laughs an empty laugh, mouth twisting into a crooked grimace. Surely you wouldn't mind sitting down for a quick meal. Just a bite, even. Please. His hands fisted at his sides. Do you really have to go? Michael stared at me as if looking for something. Finally, he sighed in defeat. Alright, I guess I can't keep you here. Not anymore. Let me lead you outside. Michael ushered me towards the back door, swinging it open as he sidestepped to let me out. The chill breeze crept along my arms. I turned towards him one last time. Thanks again for everything. He was silent for a moment, staring past me into the trees. You're welcome. Be careful on your way back. I'm sorry there's not much more I can do for you. He's been nothing but gracious. It's strange for a farewell, but I was too occupied with thoughts of returning home to care. I looked over to the woods, and shadows cast from the moonlight causing some hesitation in me. Do you mind giving me some directions as a head start? Michael looked at me finally, then to the horizon with a tilt of his chin. Keep heading in that direction. You'll come across a trail that'll lead you straight home. I waved at him as he shut the door, the mechanism locking shut with a click. I stood there for a moment, questioning if I had made the right decision or not. Another urgent thought compelled me to leave. This is no place for me. I have to go. It was already too late to go back, so I gathered my resolve and walked away. I walked and walked. Trees blended into one another after a while. I should have been afraid or concerned, but it felt right. The darkness that surrounded me was too comforting for me to feel in danger. I steered away from the direction Michael showed me ages ago, my feet willingly carrying my body to someplace specific, someplace special, a final destination. Here, the patch of mushrooms I had stepped in earlier. I was meant to be here. I've always meant to be here. I laid down in the cold, wet dirt and closed my eyes. Michael, there's not much I could do if the forest had There's not much I could do if the forest had staked its claim on you, Firefly. Aww. I wish I'd found you sooner. Sleep well, Arya. Ending one peaceful slumber. No! Oh, that's so sad. Well, I'm gonna leave it here. You guys watch out for a part 2. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have the loveliest of lovely days. Bye!